The mission of Inland Seas Education Association is to protect the Great Lakes through education, inspire Great Lakes curiosity, stewardship, and passion. The mission statement is the foundation for how we try to engage people. We could do what we need to in a classroom, but by getting people out on a traditional schooner out on the water, we work to create an inspiring experience. In addition to learning about the Great Lakes, we hope to create an emotional experience that'll help participants understand the importance of the Great Lakes. Inland Seas was founded in 1989 by Captain Tom Kelly. He's the gentleman you see wearing the rain gear and the golf cap. Tom Kelly had started Inland Seas on board the Malabar, which was a schooner operating out of Traverse City, Michigan, owned by Traverse Tall Ship Company. This relationship with Traverse Tall Ship Company continues today on board the schooner Manitou. By the early 1990s, interest in the Inland Seas program had grown to the point where we would need our own vessel, in addition to the chartered vessel. So in 1994, the schooner Inland Seas was built and launched in Palm Coast, Florida. Tom Kelly and crew sailed her up the East Coast and into the Great Lakes via the Hudson River and New York Canal system. She arrived in her home port of Suttons Bay, June of 1994. Inland Seas was purpose-built specifically to carry out Inland Seas Education Association programming. In the fall of 2016, the schooner Utopia was donated by the Peterson family of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. The Petersons were a shipbuilding family, and Utopia had been their private yacht since she was built in 1946. Under the Petersons' ownership, she has made 2 circumnavigations of the globe. Utopia is now used for dockside STEM programs, particularly those employing the use of ROVs. In 2002, the Inland Seas Education Center was purchased from Northern Lumber and renovated in 2003. Last year, in 2019, she underwent another extensive renovation in which the downstairs was converted to dorm rooms capable of accommodating up to 40 people for overnight. In addition to other amenities, there is also lab space available to students, educators, and any other academics who find it beneficial to utilize ISEA as a resource. Although the number of participants last season was far less than normal, we were still able to operate with a limited capacity. Since 1989, Inland Seas has had over 130,000 students and participants. Alongside the crew, the students also participate in the operation of the ship. In addition to providing another manner in which volunteers can support Inland Seas, the purpose of the Inland Seas Volunteer Crew Program exists for several reasons. It expands the base of competent crew locally, and local volunteers tend to be vested in the mission as well as the operation of the vessel. Having a larger pool of crew over which to spread the work helps to provide relief over a busy season. The Volunteer Crew Program also provides an entrance opportunity to the next generation of Inland Seas crew. Notice a slightly less portly version of me in this photo from over 20 years ago. I started my maritime career as a volunteer on board Inland Seas. If you have any hands-on skills that you'd like to share, or perhaps you'd like to learn some new skills outside of crewing, this year we will be working to develop an Inland Seas maintenance team. The purpose of this team is to keep up on maintenance during times the ship is not underway. You do not have to be crew in order to be part of the maintenance team. In addition to the required training, there are some basic policies required of all Inland Seas crew. Everyone is also working as crew for the sake of clarity. And finally, we have to conduct. I'd like to explain a little more about the Department of Transportation drug test program required of all U.S. transportation workers. One item that I need to make very clear is that all crew-rated people, which are those that have completed the training and can fulfill the crew complement required by the Coast Guard, have to be enrolled in a Department of Transportation drug test program. This is not an ISEA policy. It is a policy mandated by the federal government that all transportation workers who have duties deemed, quote, safety sensitive must be tested. Since Inland Seas is legally a commercial vessel, adherence to this rule is mandatory. If you decide to commit to being qualified crew, you must first take a pre-employment urinalysis drug test. ISEA will help you schedule the appointment. You will not be able to fill an official crew spot until a negative result is received. Once the pre-employment test is completed, you will be able to sail as certified crew, but you will still be subjected to random testing. If you are called to take a test, ISEA will help schedule the appointment. Being qualified as crew, you are able to accept the responsibility of performing emergency response as well as other safety-sensitive duties. Such duties are displayed on what we call the station bill, which is posted on board the vessel. Anyone filling any of the roles listed on the station bill needs to be in the drug testing program. If you are on board volunteering for any other role, including crew and training, you do not need to participate in the drug test program, nor is it required of anyone performing vessel maintenance. So where do you start and how do you get there? This slide is to give you a little insight as to the pathways of advancement as an Inland Seas crew member. First things first, get your paperwork completed and hand it in. The sooner this can be processed, the sooner you can start learning. Sign up for some sales. We'll help you figure out how to do that, and we'll help you figure which sales are available. Come sailing and be ready to learn. Have your logbook handy and bring any questions you have. We'll pair you up with a crew member to figure out what you need to focus on during your time aboard. When you show up to sail, you'll begin learning the basics. You'll most likely start with emergency response and ship orientation. As you become oriented and gain proficiency, we'll document your training by checking off the important subjects in your logbook. Each time you sail, we can focus on the topics you are not familiar with or need more attention. Upon completion of the required checklists in the logbook, you will then be reviewed by the captain and mate to evaluate your proficiency. If your logbook reflects your competence, you will then be given the option of participating in the random drug test pool mandated by the U.S. Coast Guard for all commercial vessel crews. If you decide that you are not ready for the responsibility of being certified crew, or you are not ready for the responsibility of participating in the drug testing program, you may still volunteer in various other ship-related capacities. You may continue as non-rated crew in training and come aboard any sail where space is available. You may also work as part of the maintenance crew or as an instructor. If you are ready for the next level and agree to participate in the drug test program, you will be sent for an initial pre-employment drug test. Upon receiving a desired result, you will then be considered official crew. Congratulations! This first level of official crew is the steward's position. At this level, you can perform all of the necessary basic emergency response and deck duties, but you still have some other items to learn before becoming a deckhand. During this time as steward, you can continue learning emergency response, basic engineering, as well as sail and line handling. These items are contained in the logbook for the next level of completion. Once the learning requirements listed in the logbook are completed, you will then be reviewed by the captain and mate to evaluate your proficiency. Once again, if your logbook reflects your competence, you will be qualified to serve as deckhand. As deckhand, you'll be working the deck with other crew as well as continuing to learn more advanced tasks, such as sail calling, small boat handling, among other topics. You will also have more of a teaching role to other crew and students. If you're interested in continuing to advance as crew, you may eventually qualify as mate. Advancing from deckhand to mate requires a good exhibition of crew coordination on deck, the ability to instruct others, as well as a thorough knowledge of the vessel. This advancement is at the discretion of the captain. Conduct ourselves professionally because if you really enjoy working as crew and you wish to continue challenging yourself by continuing your advancement, you could continue all the way to become a captain. This would involve working competently as mate, becoming proficient at ship handling, and eventually fulfilling all of the United States Coast Guard's requirements for obtaining a commercial master's license. As people look to us as crew. How safe or welcome they feel depends in large part upon how we conduct ourselves. Remember, we want the experience on board to ultimately be a positive experience, otherwise we are doing a disservice to the mission. Please remember, we are trying to engage all types of people, many of whom have had different life experiences and thus see the world through a different lens. But we want them all to have a positive ISEA experience and care about the Great Lakes. Most of all, we want to look like we know what we're doing. The drug testing program is only for crew-rated individuals who have completed the training. It is not required for crew in training, instructors, or other volunteers not involved in crewing. It has some physical demands. Crew need to haul on lines, move heavy objects, climb ladders, and squeeze into small places. It's important that they have the physical capabilities to meet those demands. It is required to undergo a background check and youth protection training. We are being charged with the safekeeping of students. People are entrusting us with the safety of their children. Therefore, we need to make sure we do everything we can to fulfill that responsibility.